these sites. And then they also said, okay, well, how do we actually take this and grow our business and make more money? It's one thing to have a better customer experience, but we also realized that just pushing our products and pushing the Best Buy experience out into the world is the way that we're going to grow in the most economical way possible. And they have a term for it that they coin called virtual densification. Densification is the process on the brick and mortar side by which they choose places to put new stores. When they want to grow their revenue on the offline basis, they don't make their stores bigger. They take and put stores where there are people in those stores, and they call that densification. They find areas where there's population density, and they pop stores there. And what they found online was they were doing the exact opposite. When they wanted to grow, they had BestBuy.com, and they just kept on making BestBuy.com bigger. And sure, it grew a little bit, but it wasn't really growing the way that they expected it to, and they realized that was because they were doing more for the people who were already there. But only, if you look at the average internet user in the United States, the average internet user spends 0.07% of their time at BestBuy.com, and the other 99.93% of their time somewhere else. So Best Buy realized they weren't going to really increase that number a lot unless they were able to take the Best Buy experience and put it where people are, which didn't happen to be at BestBuy.com 99.93% of the time. So they created this initiative called Remix. And Remix is basically, how would you remix BestBuy.com? What can you do to take the building blocks that create BestBuy.com and bring them out and make them available to others to create all kinds of experiences that the folks at Best Buy realize they're not going to create themselves. It might be to hit particular niches. It might be to present products in a new way. It might be any kind of innovation. They recognize that even with 160,000 employees, all of the ideas are not going to come from within. So here are a couple of their executives talking about what this means.
A lot of business on BestBuy.com, but there are ways to actually extend the brand beyond one big website.
And Remix is fundamentally about putting the store where people are, instead of saying to the people, come to our store.
We have a global platform now for remixing Best Buy. So we've taken down the walls around our data and we've opened it up to the world.
That means that developers, customers, business partners, and employees can help participate in how to tailor an experience that's going to be unique for the customer.
And in that kind of world, the best way to work is to make sure that you cast your net wide to test as many assumptions as possible.
$5,000 if you innovate a concept, or for free, innovate a concept, and prove it out before you invest.
This allows us to have thousands of experience launched simultaneously and allow the customers to choose one that best fit the way they like to interact with our brand.
So when they offered this Remix opportunity, they've had a lot of companies come, a lot of partners, a lot of individuals, and larger companies come and make use of it. They've even found that at BestBuy.com itself, on their site, they're able to innovate and build new experiences even within their own site much more quickly, based on the fact that they have this great toolbox available to them. So they also went out and they did a series of interviews with people as to say, when they were contemplating doing this, what would you want to see? How would you want to see new experiences around Best Buy? How would you remix Best Buy if you had a chance? There are a couple excerpts here.
If I could remix Best Buy, I would need to solve a problem. Every holiday season, I show up in the store and I panic. I don't know what to get for my family and my friends. So I'd like to be able to take my phone, choose a product category, choose an average customer rating, maybe a price, and then shake the phone and magic 8-ball style have it give me product suggestions. Your green-friendly Best Buy store online, where environmentally friendly consumers can go and find a concentration of products within one microsite.
And mash it up with our text messaging applications at Info and create an application where users can text in the UPC of a product at Best Buy, whether they're in the stores or not, and access information like product reviews, price, competitive price, and make it accessible by as easy as sending a text message.
At Best Buy Remix is all about the if I would have known customer. So many times we have people come in looking for a product, they get that product home, and it's missing something. But we have that return customer that's like, had I known I needed this, I would have done it then.
So going to a couple publishing examples, because obviously this is being the Booksellers Convention, we're sort of great about consumer electronics. Does this really apply to you? Well, last year the New York Times announced that they were going to make everything they do available through an API, and they started with campaign finance data. They went on to things like restaurant reviews, book reviews. You can get all their book reviews through an API. And now they even have the entire archive, 2.8 million articles available through their API. And they've realized that there's a short shelf life left of the print edition. You know, that the Dead Tree version is not going to be their main source of revenue forever. So they're looking to the outside world. They call it open.newyorktimes.com, and they have a cute thing, all the news that's fit to print F. That's computer geek humor. But that's, you know, the concept is that the New York Times has a ton of data that is available. They certainly have content, but a lot of companies that generate content generate a ton of data from that content and about that content. They don't just know what the news was. They can delve in and let you search it in various ways. They also know what people read. They have metadata on who's been reading, who's been mailing, who's been linking, what's our favorites. These are things that allow third parties to create really cool, very timely mashups and very timely applications. And the point of that for the New York Times is to drive traffic back to nytimes.com. They have it all set up so that basically their terms of use are take our stuff, play with it, make new experiences around it, but if you want to read the full text of the article, come on back to the New York Times and read the full text of the article and look at our ads. And that's been a very successful means for them, and they actually track the use of the APIs versus how much traffic comes back, and that's how they measure the success and the relative value of one partner versus another. Similarly, The Guardian, which is a newspaper website in the UK, they're taking a slightly different approach. Same concept, they're doing news, but they're doing two things that are very different than anybody else out there. The first is that they're not just distributing their own content, but like the New York Times, like every news organization that has a fairly popular website, they get a lot of their content from third parties. They have their own content partnerships where they're pulling content in, and they're making that content available through their API. So they're basically saying to their content suppliers, hey, we've got this API, we've got this great distribution channel, and we're going to take you along with us on that, just as we do with our website distribution. And the second thing they're doing is they're actually including advertisements with the API feed. So they're basically saying, we don't care if you refer traffic back to us or not. However, if you're going to use our content, use our ad as well. And you put your own ad next to it, and we're essentially doing rev share at that point. And they're building an ad network around their API, which is very, very, it's a very new process. But when you think about it, it's not really that different than their core business model. Their core business model is look at our content, look at our ads. And when you come and look at the business models behind APIs, there are as many different business models as there are companies operating. You look at Netflix, why does Netflix have this API? Well, Netflix doesn't care if you come to their website or not. They care if you pay your subscription fee. If you subscribe and you get your DVDs and you watch your movies and you're happy, you can find out about them wherever you want to. You can interact with Netflix wherever you want to. But as long as you're enjoying their core service, you're going to keep paying them. So their goal is to increase their customer satisfaction, decrease churn, increase subscribership. Best Buy, of course, just wants to sell more TVs. So how do they sell more TVs? You can buy TVs in lots of different places. They want you to associate the best information available, the best content, ratings, reviews, support, customer experience. All of that wants to be associated with Best Buy so that when you need to go shopping for a TV, you'll think to shop there first. And when you're tooling around and you're seeing this digital camera site and, or this travel site with there's information about cameras, you go, oh yeah, I'm taking a trip. I should buy a camera, you think to go to Best Buy and not necessarily say to Amazon. New York Times wants to increase traffic and increase the value of their ads. They basically want to sell more ads, and this is a very important initiative for them to increase traffic, because how do you increase traffic in general on the web? Well, the easiest way, of course, is to spend a bunch of money. You buy Google AdWords, you buy advertising in various places, you do placement deals with people where they'll run your links if you pay them for it. That's great, but that doesn't scale very well, and it's super expensive. It's much better if you can provide something of value to third parties that will make them say, okay, I'll take this something of value, and I'll put it on my site, and I'll help promote you because you're helping me create something interesting for my users. When you do that, that gives you the means of creating this ecosystem where you're benefiting and your partner is benefiting, and if you both benefit together, you're going to see a lot more value. And then, of course, The Guardian is doing the twist on that.